Thanks to Unity Online Radio for those uplifting announcements. You know, I always think that because you're listening to the Main Street Vegan program, which comes through Unity Online Radio, that you are familiar with Unity and the work that they do. They're really amazing people. And one unique thing that they offer is silent unity. That's their prayer ministry. They have been praying 24/7 since the 1890s. And if you need them, you don't have to be of any religion or anything. You can just be yourself. You can go online, unity.org, and click on request prayer. Or I'll tell you what I do. And honestly, I've been doing this my whole life. My grandmother told me about silent unity when I was a little bitty thing. And that is, I call, here's the number, 816-969-2000. And you get to talk with someone who is so kind and so loving, and they don't dwell on what's wrong, they dwell on what's right. It's just a really beautiful experience. 816-969-2000. Now, I would bet anything that the nice person who answers that phone gets more calls about sickness and healing than about anything else. And we're going to be devoting the second half of today's program to talking about healing and thriving and living fully through choices that we can make in our daily lives. I am blessed to have two guests in this segment. Both Brooke Ali and Patricia Thomson, PhD, are certified whole food plant-based nutritionists, and they are both also moms of 3 adult children each. Brooke is a culinary expert, vegan educator, former vegan restaurant owner, and published author. And she has 4 cats, 2 dogs, and a couple of guinea pigs. She is a Hashimoto's survivor and thriver. Patricia Thomson, also known as Dr. T, is additionally certified in whole food plant-based cooking. She was a CEO of nonprofits. She's been an environmental toxicologist, published author, and she has 2 cats, 2 dogs, and a goldfish. And she is a thyroid cancer survivor and thriver. So these 2 amazing women have come together as founders of Wellness 20, and the Food as Medicine Summit just recently published 2 books, Vegan 20 and Whole Food Plant-Based 20. And they have an exciting new project called Hashimoto's Hero Mastery that we're going to hear about. And they're just plumb dedicated. They want to heal people and just lessen the suffering on this planet through a whole body, mind, and spirit lifestyle. So welcome, Patricia and Brooke.
Hello, thank you.
What a pleasure to be talking with you. So who started this whole thing? Who was first on the blog?
Well, it depends on which way you look at it, but I had been running my own company called TS Wellness for a couple of years, and I was putting on the Food as Medicine Summit and Expo in the April of 2020. So we know what happened in March of 2020, and that's really the beginning of me and Brooke's story. We say COVID brought us together. Brooke, tell a little bit about what you were doing before we made it official.
Well, I was running a vegan restaurant that was very healthful and also had a gluten-free bakery. And we were actually featured in Oprah's Vision 2020 tour with Weight Watchers, and we're doing great. And then we were going to be catering your event, and that's how we started working together. And then ended up having to close down the restaurant. You closed down your event, and then we joined forces and put the Food as Medicine Summit online.
Mm-hmm. And it was a tremendous success. Victoria, you were part of it, and we were so honored to have you, along with just a wonderful list of experts around the world, basically. And we had great attendance, and that really started our relationship. And from there, we just, we've come all the way to here. I was just saying how when I met Brooke, I thought, man, I wish I could be a business partner with her, because I just loved her approach and her attitude and her intelligence and her enthusiasm. So anyway, we're really happy that we're together.
Ah, that's so cool. So what is Wellness 20?
So we are a health and wellness company that we help individuals that are seeking help to make their life a better quality, like release them from their pain and their suffering and get them on the road to a better lifestyle with choices that they make, and help them make those choices. Just share what our life experiences too. We bring a lot to the table, because we've both been down lots of roads to get to where we are right now.
Well, and it's interesting to me that the health challenges that you both faced had to do with your thyroid gland. So tell us about this little gland, and what does it do and what can go wrong there?
So that little gland has caused me some trouble and it has caused Brooke some trouble. So that gland is really responsible for a lot of the hormone regulation in our body. And through certain diseases and certain conditions, it attacks, like Hashimoto's, which Brooke suffered from. Basically is an autoimmune disease that affects the thyroid gland and attacks it. And what happens is that the thyroid just gets so fatigued in constantly being attacked and told, hey, you got to ramp up, you got to ramp up. That's basically what the Hashimoto's does. And the thyroid just becomes exhausted and can't do its work. And then those hormones that aren't being sent through the body result in lots and lots of symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, achy joints, lack of sleep, weight gain, and weight loss. What did you say?
Depression.
Yeah, depression. And so for me, I had a nodule on my thyroid from the time I was in my 20s. It was first diagnosed. And then they just said, well, we're just going to watch it. And so they watched it for 30 something years. And then all of a sudden, one day, it just had a mind of its own and decided, I don't think I'm just going to stay like that anymore. I'm going to manifest into something worse. And so I had a biopsy, and then had first surgery, and then they took out part of my thyroid, and then a month later they took the whole thing out because they did find cancer. And recovery took me about a year. And so I'm 4+ years. So I'm just want to get to the 5th year. And Brooke has her journey too. That
Yeah, I had Hashimoto's hypothyroidism, and it just, I was already whole food plant-based, and I was really frustrated with the fact that I was sick. I was like, why can't food help me with this? And I got in, it actually made me quite depressed. And I just remember one day being curled up in my bed in a ball and just feeling like everything hurt. And I felt so alone, and I felt so unsupported and a little bit like a failure. And then I was like, this is crazy. There has to be something more out there, and something has to work. So I just started doing the research and looking into the different ways of healing, and realized that it wasn't just food. It's also a holistic lifestyle, but there's also a whole food plant-based diet works really well for our health, but there are other foods that can also help benefit with the symptoms of Hashimoto's. And so after getting a lot of coaching, being in a lot of different programs and a lot of discovery, I was able to actually go off of my medication for the Hashimoto's and for the depression, and have been fine ever since. I get tested every 6 months. It's been about 4 years as well for me since then. But I was just determined to say that you can still thrive on a whole food plant-based diet, even when you have really chronic illnesses or autoimmunes. It just needs a little bit more tweaking.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's what leads us into what we ended up going into this Hashimoto's hero is because there are so many people that are lost when they have Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism or thyroid cancer. They feel like this is it. There's nothing else they can do. And a lot of times they're told to go paleo or go on keto. And sometimes that can cause more harm than good. And so we realized that there's a lot of opportunity for assistance with people and for service. And so we're focusing now on Hashimoto's and helping people to pull out of that hole and actually have a really amazing life. And I'm not saying everyone can go off medication, but we can definitely address those symptoms with our program.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because Brooke and I didn't know each other 4 years ago. Mm-mm. And we were both going through the same thing because, I had no thyroid now and I had to be on medication, but I needed to refine my whole food plant-based diet to really make myself feel better. And so now I'm on the lowest dose of Synthroid that I need because I think of the foods and the way that I'm living my life. And the same thing for Brooke. We're giving people hope, basically. That's what this whole program is about. Because we felt like people that had Hashimoto's they weren't getting the love that they needed. They were an invisible, there's over 7 million people in the world with Hashimoto's and probably much more of people that haven't even been diagnosed because it's a tricky disease to be diagnosed.
Well, I'm interested that and certainly in Brooke's case, you were already whole foods plant-based, that number one, you didn't go running back to eating meat, which seems to be maybe the fear response. People are like, okay, I'm doing this thing because I think it's right. And then, oh my gosh, I have this scary, awful thing going on. Yeah. It must be that. And then they go back to the status quo. I think that is probably human nature. And I love it that you didn't, but that you found ways to tweak it to be more conducive to what you needed. So I am really interested in what some of those ways are. Like I see that you have a giant jug of water that you're drinking from right now. Is that part of it? What else is on the program?
Yeah, staying hydrated is key, but you don't necessarily have to only do it with water. A lot of the food that we eat can make such a difference. Just, lots of fruits and vegetables, green leafy vegetables, getting a lot of those in, flax seeds, chia seeds, smoothies, green smoothies. I would say that, oh my gosh, I could just tell the entire thing, but it would be extremely overwhelming. But it's really just focusing on the foods that cause less inflammation in your body, because Hashimoto's is basically inflammation. And so hyper-nourishing your body with those, and then avoiding the things that cause the inflammation, like gluten, and then also being mindful of how your body reacts to certain foods. So for me, I noticed that when I have nightshade vegetables, I'll get acid reflux. So I kind of control how much of that I eat. I don't cut it out completely, but I had to cut out gluten. And then just because I had a restaurant and I love to cook and I'm super creative, I was also determined to make it taste good. So just coming up with different recipes and different formulas on how to have something different where you're not stuck with the same thing every day. And you're not eating just to survive and just to heal, but you're still enjoying your food. Because I think that's really, really important, at least for me. I love food. I love to eat. And it just needs to taste good. But knowing kind of what to pull from is key. And then making sure that you stick with it and stay full is also really important. And of course, mindset is the other key that is very crucial.
And I know you all have something coming up that's going to share every single detail for great general good health, but specifically Hashimoto's and care of the thyroid gland. So what is that all about?
So we are launching our 5-day challenge, the Hashimoto Hero Challenge, and that's coming up this coming Thursday, which is the 13th, for those of you who are listening. But that's a free 5-day event. We join everybody live each day for an hour, and we share a little bit of the framework for how to put all this together and, go down this journey for those who have Hashimoto's or even suffering from hypothyroidism. It does relate. So we have created this challenge, and we'll go through that with some daily wins so that people can actually implement a couple of the things that we discuss and see improvements right away. But we're only sharing a snapshot of our entire framework. And then at the end of the 5-day challenge, we invite everybody to join our 6-week Hashimoto Hero Mastery Program.
So the 5-day challenge is starting Thursday, January 13th, 2022. I say that because with a podcast, people could be listening to this
right.
Long into the future. So give us the website where they can find the whole program and also what you'll be offering if they happen to be listening, in 2026.
Hey, there you go. So it's www.wellness-20.com.
Okay, and we'll put that also on the show notes at mainstreetvegan.net, but we'll say it a few times here, wellness-20.com for the 5-day program. And then the big program is 30 days. What did you say?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Okay. Wow. You should know everything by then. How wonderful to have not exactly in person. We're still not quite doing in person these days, but real guidance from people who have been there. That is pretty thrilling.
And so, one part of the challenges that we offer for a very $27, I think it is, for the backstage pass, but people will get a 30-minute coaching session with that $27, which, a one-on-one coaching session is worth a lot more than that, but they also get lifetime access to all the recordings for the 5 days, and they get some access to some videos. Actually, your video is included in that, the one that you did for our Buddhist Medicine Summit. So we just want to encourage people that if you want some one-on-one coaching, that's an easy way to get into that process.
What an amazing offer. Wow. So wellness-20.com. If you are dealing with thyroid issues, get in on that. And honestly, listeners, if you're listening to this far out in the future and you feel like you've missed all of it, just contact these amazing women. You've got the website. You can also find them on Facebook at Wellness20. In that case, the word 20 is spelled out. Their wellness_20 spelled out on Instagram. We'll put all of this in the show notes, but these ladies are going to be there for you now and going forward. So Brooke and Patricia, when I hear about diet and thyroid, somebody always says, you can't have kale, you can't have cauliflower. I don't understand. Help us with that.
That is a misnomer. And it's actually the opposite, because it really is helpful. And if something's happening in your body where you're not able to process it right away, then have it cooked at first. But that's one of the most powerful foods that you can eat. And that's what heals your cells. And so I think maybe people, when they eat it, they might have a detox and have a reaction that way. But it actually is very, very beneficial. And Dr. Goldner, who also does the Goodbye Lupus, also says that no, that's 100% not true. It's actually the opposite. Patricia, do you have anything you wanted to say on that?
So I think people go to extreme. Like if you just eat kale all day long, or if you just ate, some cruciferous vegetable all day long, and that's all you ate, and you ate it raw, yeah, you're going to get reaction from that, because that's just not normal. We really emphasize a very diverse diet, but making sure that you include those cruciferous vegetables. Those are just key. The other thing is that there's other things that are involved if somebody's having a bad reaction, besides being sensitive because they haven't been eating it before. So when people jump into it, that's why we take people by the hand and gradually ease them into it. Because if you just all of a sudden start consuming lots of fibrous materials, your gut is going to say, hey, wait a minute, what the heck is this stuff? I've been used to eating cheeseburgers and fries, right? So we really try to look at each individual person and look at what they've been eating, what's their regular diet, and then we ease them into this whole transition. And also, I do want to say it's not all about the food. Food is like a major thing because we do that 3 times a day, but we also have all these other different frameworks that we add on to our program that really do the holistic approach to a person and healing inflammation, because there's lots of things that cause inflammation, right?
Yeah, stress is one. And also just being able to apply and implement a program like any kind of a healing program, you need to really feel that you're capable of doing it and that you're worthy. Yeah. And you need that support. And I feel like that's one of the most important things, is to offer that kind of support, because I honestly don't think anyone can do it alone, especially when they're in a place of when they're feeling so fatigued and so drained and brain fog, and to do all that research and to have the energy to kind of like pull themselves out of that pit. It's really nice to have the support of a community and someone saying, okay, these are the steps. It's easy. Let's do it together. And then just be there for each other.
Yes. Well, that's excellent. And I think also on the cruciferous vegetable issue, it's important that you have enough iodine. And so if you're not working with a registered dietitian or a qualified coach or your physician, get some help. And you can also certainly check everything out at nutritionfacts.org. Dr. Greger seems to always have the most updated information. That's what I do when there's something in a headline that's doesn't quite seem right, or maybe it's right, but I've never heard it before, so it doesn't seem right to me. I'll go to Nutrition Facts, and Dr. Greger has usually answered what's in today's headlines 2 weeks ago. So
he's amazing.
He's my hero.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, one of many, and certainly your heroes for a lot of people as well. So give us just, everybody likes to know, what do you do? What's your life like? What do you do all day? So I would love to just get from each of you a day in the life, your food and your other practices that are relevant.
Okay. For me, I like to start my day just in peace, where I can wake up, have some water, and take time to meditate. Maybe journal if I, have some extra time. It's kind of my creative time because I'm a morning person, and just really kind of be with myself and make sure that I'm in a good place. And sometimes I might listen to a motivational video or something educational or whatever. And then I get into my day of, going on social media, working on whatever project we're doing. But Patricia and I are both very much into learning. Like, we just love to learn new things. So I'm constantly reading 3 books simultaneously. And, some might be for fun, some might be a mindset, some might be nutrition or science or, whatever it is. And then I have actually 4 dogs. So I think that it got switched around on there. And so I spent a lot of time with my dogs. And a lot of mornings I'll go for Pilates, which is also a nice form of meditation. And if I don't do Pilates, I'll walk. And that's really about my exercise. I'm not like a huge exercise person, but I do think it's important to get out and move and stretch and that kind of thing. And I have one child at home still who is 18. So I might make him lunch or dinner or whatever. I have another child that lives in Austin who comes home occasionally. And I have a daughter who's in LA. So if they're around, then I'll get to spend time with them. And then my husband comes home at night, and, we'll have dinner together. And he also will eat plant-based. And, right now with COVID, it's hard to be very social. I love to travel. So I would do like road trips to LA to see my daughter. And Patricia and I actually have been on 2 trips together in the past year. But I would love to actually implement more of that if I can in my life. But yeah, constantly learning new things, I would say be my number one. And then also trying to develop different recipes and different ways to make a macro bowl and document that and that kind of thing.
Beautiful. I'm not sure we're going to have time for your day because we only have a minute left, Patricia. So if you want to send me that, I'll put it in the show notes.
Sure.
But for now, just tell us your very favorite plant-based meal.
I have to say anything with sweet potatoes in it. That's my favorite.
Sure.
I love how when we start doing what's good for us, we start loving and craving what's good for us.
Absolutely. I love that.
True.
Yeah.
So do you find, Patricia, that when you work with people, they're excited or a little bit scared at the beginning?
I think both. I think they're a little bit of both. Whenever you start a new thing, you're excited about it, but it's going to be change. And that's, we always make sure that people understand that it's going to take work. It's not, you don't just go to sleep and wake up and you're healthy. You have to put some work into it. And so you have to love yourself and think that you're worth it and to put the energy into it. But, we take everybody by the hand.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. And anybody who works with you would start loving you too. So that website is wellness-20.com. Check it out. Thanks everybody for listening.
Thank you.
God bless
Thank you.
Thank
Eat
you.
your veggies.
Especially your greens.